The specimen vol-hummed with its usual blend of environmental controls and warning sensors. Riley pressed her face closer to the glass containment unit, watching the purple moss from Sector 9 pulse with bioluminescence. 3 months on Helios, 7 research station, and the weird plants still made her grin like a kid in a candy store. "You're doing it again," Pip said from across the lab. The small Centauri was organizing sample containers, his 4 arms making quick work of the task. "That face you make when you find something interesting." "Everything here is interesting," Riley said, pulling back from the moss display. "We've got plants that sing, flowers that generate localized gravity fields, and somewhere in storage there's a vine that supposedly dreams. Dreams are not scientifically measurable in plants. Not yet." Riley moved to the next containment unit, then frowned. The label had fallen off, just a piece of white paper curled on the floor. Inside the clear box sat a single fruit, roughly apple-sized, with skin that shifted between red and gold, depending on the angle of light. "Hey Pip, what's this one?" Pip glanced over, then his skin went pale blue. "Don't touch that containment field." "I'm not touching anything. Just looking." Riley bent down, picked up the fallen label, but the ink had smeared into illegibility. "Label's dead. Want to check the inventory system?" "Yes." "Don't move." Pip hurried to the computer terminal, his nervous energy making his movements jerky. Riley turned back to the fruit. Really, it was beautiful. The color shift reminded her of those old-fashioned mood rings her grandmother used to wear. She pulled up her tablet, ready to photograph it for records, when Pip's elbow knocked against the environmental control panel. The containment field flickered. "Died." The clear box went dark. "No, no, no," Pip whispered. The fruit rolled forward, dropped the 6 inches to the counter, and continued rolling toward the edge. Riley's reflexes kicked in. She caught it in her right hand, felt the skin give slightly under her fingers. Firm but yielding, like a ripe peach. Riley put it down. Pip's voice had gone high and thin. "It's fine, I've got it." She turned the fruit over in her palm. "Actually, it smells amazing. Kind of like honey and cinnamon mixed together." Without thinking, the way someone might test a melon in a grocery store, she brought it to her mouth and bit down. The taste exploded across her tongue. Sweet, tart, complex layers of flavor that made her eyes close in appreciation. Juice ran down her chin. Pip screamed. Not a yelp of surprise, but a full-throated scream of horror that brought Riley's eyes snapping open. The Centauri had backed against the far wall, all 4 arms wrapped around himself. "What? What's wrong?" "You ate the death apple." Pip's voice broke. "You ate the death apple, and you're going to die." "The what?" Riley looked at the fruit in her hand, then at the bite she'd taken. "This is a death apple. Mortis fructus. 3 molecules kill most species in seconds." "You took a bite." Pip slapped the emergency alarm. Red lights flooded the lab, and a klaxon began wailing. "Medical emergency, Xenobotany lab. Human crew member has ingested Mortis fructus." "Repeat, human has ingested death apple." Riley swallowed the bite in her mouth. The fruit really was delicious. "Pip, I feel fine." "You won't. The toxin crystallizes cellular structures. Your organs are shutting down right now, you just don't feel it yet." Pip was crying now, tears streaming down his face. "Why did you eat it?" "I didn't know what it was." The label fell off. Riley set the fruit down on the counter, suddenly worried. Her stomach felt normal. Her heart beat steady. No pain, no numbness, nothing weird at all. "How long do I have?" "You should already be dead." The lab door burst open. Dr. Vosh rushed in, medical scanner in one hand, emergency toxin kit in the other. The Antarian's face was set in professional calm, but her hands shook. Behind her came Commander Holt and 3 other medical staff, all carrying equipment. "Riley Chun, don't move," Vosh ordered. She ran the scanner over Riley's torso, then her head, then back to her torso. The device beeped confused patterns. "This can't be right." "What can't be right?" Riley asked. "You're still alive." Vosh looked at Pip. "How much did she ingest?" "She bit it. A full bite. I saw the juice." "That's impossible. She should be dead." Vosh ran the scanner again. "The toxin is in your bloodstream. I'm reading it clearly. But your cellular structures are intact. Your organs are functioning normally. She looked at Riley with something between fear and awe. How do you feel? Honestly, pretty good. That fruit was tasty. Riley picked up the death apple again. Can I finish it? Every alien in the room took a step backward. Absolutely not, Commander Holt said. His voice had gone tight. Dr. Vosh, what's happening here? I don't know. Vosh pulled up a data screen on her scanner. The mortis fructus contains a compound that should be binding to her proteins right now, crystallizing them, causing massive cellular death. But her liver is producing enzymes I've never seen before. They're breaking down the toxin into harmless components. So I'm okay. Riley asked. You're not just okay. You're metabolizing one of the deadliest substances in known space like it's a mild irritant. Vosh pressed the communication button on her wrist device. This is Dr. Vosh to all department heads. We need an emergency meeting about human biology. Immediately, Riley looked at the half-eaten death apple in her hand, then at the terrified faces around her. Can someone explain what's going on? What's going on, Vosh said slowly, is that you just did something that should be biologically impossible. And if my initial readings are correct, this isn't an anomaly. This is standard human physiology. She paused. Riley, what else do humans eat that we should know about? Riley thought about chocolate, coffee, alcohol, cashews, cassava, all the foods that came with warnings and processing requirements. How much time do you have? Vosh's face went very still. Commander, I'm upgrading this from medical emergency to a xenobiology crisis. We need to review every substance on this station. Why? Holt asked. Because, Vosh said, not taking her eyes off Riley, I think we've been living with a death worlder, and none of us knew it. Riley took another bite of the death apple. It really was too good a waste. Medical bay smelled like antiseptic and recycled air. Riley sat on the examination table, swinging her legs while Dr. Vosh ran the 8th scan in the last hour. Through the window, she could see other crew members gathering in the corridor, whispering and pointing. Your liver is fascinating, Vosh said, studying the holographic display. It's producing at least 15 different enzyme families I've never encountered. 3 of them are actively dismantling the death apple toxin. Is that bad? Riley asked. Bad? No. Impossible? Yes. Vosh manipulated the hologram, zooming in on Riley's cellular structures. Look at this. The toxin molecules are binding to these enzymes like they were designed to. But they weren't designed. This is natural human biology. Commander Holt entered the medical bay with Pip trailing behind him. The Centauri had stopped crying, but still looked shaken. Behind them came another figure on the communication screen, a being with crystalline skin and too many eyes. Dr. Finnick, Vosh said, nodding at the screen. Thank you for joining us. I had to see this for myself. Finnick leaned closer to their camera. You're telling me this human consumed mortis fructus 90 minutes ago. Nearly 2 hours now, Vosh confirmed. Impossible. Show me the scans. Vosh transferred the data. Riley watched Finnick's eyes widen, then narrow, then widen again. The alien made a sound like grinding glass. This breaks every toxicology model I know, Finnick said. The compound should have crystallized her blood proteins within 30 seconds. Her heart should have stopped at 45 seconds. Brain death at 60 seconds. Yeah, about that, Riley said. I feel fine. Actually, I'm kind of hungry. Is there food? Every alien in the room stared at her. You're hungry, Vosh repeated. Well, I only ate half the death apple. Are there more? Because honestly, that was the best fruit I've had in months. Pip made a strangled noise. Holt put a hand on the Centauri's shoulder. There will be no more death apple consumption, Holt said firmly. Dr. Vosh, what's your medical assessment? She's healthy. Completely, perfectly healthy. Vosh pulled up another screen. But I did some research while running the scans. I accessed the Galactic Biological Database and cross-referenced Earth flora with known toxins. She paused. Commander, did you know that humans regularly consume compounds that are lethal to most other species? What do you mean? I mean that the toxin in mortis fructus has a similar molecular structure to compounds found in Earth plants called nightshades, cassava, and bitter almonds. Humans eat all of these. We process them first, Riley said. You have to cook cassava and we bred the really dangerous stuff out of potatoes and tomatoes generations ago. You bred them, Phoenix said from the screen. You took poisonous plants and made them less poisonous, then ate them anyway. I mean, yeah, they taste good. Vosh pulled up more data. It gets worse. Humans consume capsaicin, a compound that activates pain receptors and causes permanent nerve damage in most species. They call it spicy food and seek it out for pleasure. It's not that spicy, Riley protested. It would put me in a coma, Pip squeaked. Humans also drink ethanol, Vosh continued, which dissolves cell membranes. They call it alcohol and consume it socially. And they inject themselves with caffeine, a cardiac stimulant that would kill a centauri with a single dose. They call it coffee and claim they need it to function. Riley shrugged. Coffee's pretty essential, yeah. Holt sat down heavily in a chair. Are you telling me that Riley is poisonous? No, Vosh said. I'm telling you that Riley is poison-proof. Or nearly so. Her body processes toxins as a matter of course. Her digestive system is designed for chemical warfare. That's a bit dramatic, Riley said. Is it? Vosh pulled up a microscopic image. These are bacteria from your digestive tract. Do you know what they would be classified as in galactic medical standards? Helpful. Bioweapons. Your gut flora produces compounds that would sterilize our surgical equipment. You're carrying around an entire ecosystem of organisms that could devastate most known biospheres. Riley felt her face heat up. Okay, when you put it that way, it sounds bad. It's not bad, Phoenix said from the screen. It's remarkable. Humans evolved on a Class 12 death world. Your planet has spent millions of years trying to kill you, and you evolved to eat it instead. Earth's not that bad, Riley muttered. Your planet has active volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and predators that mass more than most spacecraft, Vosh said. It's absolutely that bad. And you evolved there. You're built for survival in conditions that would kill most of us. The door to Medical Bay opened. Another human walked in, younger, with dark hair tied back. He carried a wrapped package. Hey, Riley. Pip said you were stuck in here. Brought you a snack. Thanks, Danny. Riley took the package and unwrapped it. A chocolate bar that Vosh's scanner beeped urgently. Wait, don't eat that. Riley paused with the chocolate halfway to her mouth. What's wrong? That contains theobromine. It's toxic. Vosh scanned a chocolate bar. In those concentrations, it would kill a centauri. It would put me in intensive care. Danny blinked. It's just chocolate. Just chocolate. Vosh repeated faintly. She turned to Commander Holt. Sir, I need to file an emergency report with the Galactic Safety Council. We need to completely revise our understanding of human biology and dietary requirements. Because of chocolate, Danny asked. Because humans eat poison for fun, Pip said, his voice hollow. You're all insane. We're not insane, Riley said, taking a bite of the chocolate. We just have good taste. Want some? She held the bar toward Pip. The centauri fled the room. Holt rubbed his face with both hands. Dr. Vosh, how many other humans are on this station? 7, including Riley and Danny. And they all have the same biology. It's standard for the species, yes. So we've had 7 walking toxin processors on board for months, and nobody noticed. We noticed they ate strange things, Vosh said. We just assumed it was cultural preference, not biological necessity. She looked at Riley. You asked for hot sauce in the commissary last week. I thought you were joking. Hot sauce makes everything better, Riley said through a mouthful of chocolate. Finnick made that grinding glass sound again. I need to go. I have about 15 papers to retract and 30 new ones to write. Human biology just rewrote toxicology. The screen went dark. Vosh sat down next to Holt, both of them looking exhausted. We're going to need new safety protocols. Clearly. Holt looked at Riley. Are there any other surprises we should know about? Riley thought about alcohol, fermented foods, aged cheese, raw fish, all the things humans ate that came with warning labels. How long do you have? That's what I was afraid of, Holt muttered. The intercom crackled. Commander Holt to Command Center. Emergency transmission from Freighter Dawnrunner. They're reporting crew casualties from toxin exposure. Holt stood. How many? 15 crew members. They're dying. Requesting immediate medical assistance and emergency antidote supplies. Riley slid off the examination table. I can help. You're still under observation, Vosh said. Doc, I ate a death apple 2 hours ago, and I'm fine. If people are dying from poison, maybe I'm exactly who you need. Riley looked at Holt. What kind of toxin? Holt checked his datapad. Nerve agent. Industrial accident. Cargo container breach. Can I see the molecular structure? Vosh pulled it up on her screen. Riley studied it, her brow furrowing. That's similar to organophosphates. We use those as pesticides on Earth. Used? Vosh asked. Yeah, they're banned now. Too dangerous. But I know humans can metabolize them. Our bodies produce enzymes specifically for breaking down that class of compounds. Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting? Holt asked. Riley met his eyes. I'm suggesting that maybe being a Death Worlder has some advantages. The rescue shuttle vibrated with acceleration as it burned toward the Dawnrunner. Riley strapped herself into the medical bay seat while Vosh prepped emergency equipment. The Antarian's hands moved with practiced efficiency, but her eyes kept darting to Riley. This is insane, Vosh muttered. I'm bringing a human to a toxin disaster as the solution. When you say it like that, it sounds weird, Riley said. But my blood can neutralize organophosphates. That's just biology. Biology that shouldn't exist. Vosh pulled up the freighter's medical data on her screen. 15 crew members exposed to industrial nerve agent 43 minutes ago. 3 are already dead. The rest are deteriorating rapidly. Riley studied the molecular structure again. Yeah, that's definitely an organophosphate. Probably similar to parathion or malathion. We used those on Earth until we figured out they were killing more than just bugs. They kill everything, Vosh said. The compound binds to neural receptors and causes paralysis, then respiratory failure, then death. It's efficient and horrible, but humans can break it down. We produce an enzyme called peroxinase. It's specifically designed to metabolize these compounds. Riley pulled up her own medical data. See? My liver is making it right now. Has been my whole life. Why would humans evolve an enzyme for a synthetic nerve agent? We didn't. We evolved it for natural organophosphates. Lots of plants produce them as defense mechanisms. Our ancestors kept eating those plants anyway, so our bodies adapted. Vosh stared at her. Your species is determined to eat everything, aren't you? Pretty much, yeah. The shuttle shuddered as it matched velocity with the Dawnrunner. Through the viewport, Riley could see the freighter. It was a standard cargo hauler, blocky and functional, with scorch marks along one side where the containment breach had occurred. Dawnrunner, this is Rescue Shuttle from Helios 7, Vosh transmitted. We're docking now. Prepare for emergency medical intervention. Please hurry. The voice that came back sounded weak and desperate. Captain Wren's here. We're dying. The universal antidote isn't working. We have a new treatment option, Vosh said. Stand by. The shuttle clamped onto the freighter's airlock. Riley grabbed the emergency medical kit and followed Vosh through the docking tube. The smell hit her first. Sharp, chemical wrong. Her eyes watered. That's the nerve agent, Vosh said through a respirator. Can you tolerate it? Riley breathed carefully. Her eyes burned, but nothing else felt wrong. I am okay. Where are the crew? Cargo bay. This way. They ran through the corridors. The freighter was silent except for the hum of life support. Riley's boots echoed on the metal deck. When they reached the cargo bay, her stomach lurched. Bodies lay scattered across the floor. Some weren't moving. Others twitched and gasped, their bodies seizing. A few crew members knelt beside their fallen companions, trying to help, but clearly affected themselves. Captain Wren's dragged himself toward them. He was a Balian, his blue skin now gray with toxin exposure. The antidote. Do you have it? We have something better, Vosh said. She looked at Riley. Are you sure about this? People are dying. We have to try. Riley knelt beside the nearest victim, a small insectoid being whose breathing had gone shallow and rapid. I need a transfusion kit. Riley, we don't know if this will work, Vosh said. Human blood might be incompatible with their biology. The enzyme in my blood plasma is what matters. We separate the plasma, filter it, and use that. It should work like any other serum treatment. Riley had read about this in medical journals, experimental treatments using enzyme-rich plasma. She had never imagined she would be the donor. Vosh set up the equipment with shaking hands. This is completely against protocol. So is letting people die when we can help. Riley held out her arm. Draw the blood. The needle pierced her skin. Riley watched her blood flow into the collection bag, dark red and normal looking. Hard to believe this ordinary liquid contained enzymes that could save lives. We need to work fast, Vosh said. The plasma separation will take 3 minutes. Then we can begin transfusions. Captain Renz coughed. What is this treatment? Human blood plasma, Riley said. It contains enzymes that break down organophosphates. Human. Renz looked confused. But humans are just another spacefaring species. Nothing special. Tell him about the death apple, Vosh said, monitoring the plasma separation. Later. Right now, we need to focus. Riley watched the machine work, separating her plasma from the red blood cells. The clear yellowish liquid that resulted looked harmless. How do we know how much to use? We don't, Vosh admitted. Standard plasma transfusion protocols suggest 50 milliliters for a being this size. We'll start there and monitor. The insectoid being convulsed. Riley grabbed Vosh's arm. We're out of time. Vosh loaded the plasma into an injector and pressed it against the victim's thorax. The liquid disappeared into their system. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the convulsion slowed. Breathing steadied. Compound eyes that had been glazed and unfocused began to clear. It's working, Riley breathed. Impossible rien whispered. The nerve agent should still be active. The enzymes in the plasma are neutralizing it, Vosh explained, already moving to the next victim. Riley, we need more blood. Take what you need. Riley held out her other arm. They worked for the next hour. Riley gave blood until Vosh insisted she stop, worried about her health. But the plasma they collected saved 11 crew members. 4 had died before they arrived. 3 more were too far gone, their neural systems too damaged to recover. Riley sat against a cargo container, exhausted and dizzy from blood loss. Vosh had given her electrolyte supplements and insisted she rest. Around them, the surviving crew members were starting to move, to talk, to realize they were alive. Captain Renz approached, moving slowly but under his own power. You saved us. Your blood saved us. The enzymes in my blood, Riley corrected. Any human could have done this. But you're the one who came. Renz sat down beside her, careful and stiff. Why? You didn't know us. This wasn't your emergency. People were dying. Of course I came. Riley didn't understand the question. What else would I do? Renz studied her face. Most species would have waited, would have let medical professionals handle it, would have followed protocol. He paused. Humans rush in, don't you? Even when it's dangerous. Especially when it's dangerous, Vosh said, joining them. She carried a medical scanner. Riley, your blood pressure is low. You need rest and food. I'm fine. You gave enough blood to save 11 beings. You're not fine, you're depleted. Vosh showed the scanner readings to Renz. Look at this. Her body is already regenerating the lost blood. She'll be back to normal in 48 hours. 48 hours. Renz shook his head. A Balian would need weeks to recover from this much blood loss. Deathworlder biology, Vosh said. They heal fast because they had to. Everything on Earth tried to kill them, so they evolved rapid recovery. Riley closed her eyes. The cargo bay felt warm now, less threatening. Did everyone make it? Everyone we could save? Yes, Renz said softly. Thanks to you. I don't know how to repay this debt. No debt. Just spread the word that humans can help with organophosphate poisoning. Maybe this information will save someone else. Riley yawned. Saw the... Tired. Sleep, Vosh ordered. I'll monitor your recovery. What about the crew? Riley asked. They're stable. Your plasma is still active in their systems, breaking down the remaining toxin. They'll need standard supportive care, but they'll live. Vosh paused. Riley, do you understand what you did here? Helped some people. You turned human biology into medicine. You weaponized your own evolution to save lives. Vosh's voice held something like awe. Do you know what this means? Riley's eyes were already closing. Means Deathworlders are useful. It means humans are more than useful. You're potentially the galaxy's universal antidote. Vosh looked at Renz. Captain, I need to file a report with the Galactic Medical Council. Human blood plasma might be the solution to dozens of toxin emergencies. File it, Renz said, and make sure everyone knows what Riley did here. Make sure they know humans aren't just another species. He looked at Riley's sleeping form. They're survivors, and they share that survival with others. That's the scary part, Vosh muttered. They don't even think it's special. 2 weeks after the Dawn rescue, Riley found herself sitting in a conference room that felt too large and too formal. The Galactic Medical Council had requested her presence via holographic link, along with Dr. Vosh and Commander Holt. Around them, screens showed council members from a dozen different species, all watching Riley like she was a specimen under glass. Let me understand this correctly, said Council Chair Meridax, a being made of crystalline structures that refracted light in rainbow patterns. Human Riley Chun consumed Mortis fructus, one of the most lethal substances in known space, and experienced no ill effects. That's correct, Vosh said. Her liver processed the toxin as efficiently as it would process any standard food compound. And then she donated her blood plasma to save victims of organophosphate poisoning. Also correct. Meridax's crystals shifted, making a sound like wind chimes. This changes everything we know about toxicology and emergency medicine. With respect, Chair, said another council member, a floating jellyfish-like being, it changes everything we know about humans. We classified them as a standard spacefaring species. We were wrong. Riley shifted uncomfortably in her seat. I'm just a botanist. I'm not special. You ate poison and didn't die, the jellyfish being said. That's extremely special. Any human could do what I did, Riley insisted. It's normal for us. Normal, Meridax repeated. Let me read from Dr. Vosh's report. Humans regularly consume capsaicin, which causes permanent neural damage in most species. They drink ethanol, which dissolves cellular membranes. They inject caffeine, a lethal cardiac stimulant. They eat theobromine, nightshade compounds, and age bacterial cultures they call cheese. The chair paused. This is your normal? Well, when you list it like that, it sounds concerning, Riley admitted. It is concerning, said a reptilian council member. We have humans serving on vessels across the galaxy. They've been eating in our commissaries, breathing our air, existing in our spaces, and we had no idea that they were walking biological hazard zones. That's unfair, Holt interjected. Humans have never posed a danger to other species. Not intentionally, the reptilian agreed. But the bacteria in their digestive systems could sterilize our medical equipment. Their blood contains enzymes we've never encountered. Their tolerance for toxins exceeds our safety margins by orders of magnitude. He leaned forward. Tell me, Commander, what happens if a human bleeds in a shared water supply? Nothing, Vosh said firmly. Human blood is not toxic to other species. The enzymes are beneficial, not harmful. We've tested this thoroughly. But you didn't test it before the Dawnrunner incident, Meridax said. You administered an untested treatment in an emergency situation. People were dying, Riley said. What were we supposed to do? Let them die while we ran studies. That's precisely what protocol demands. Then protocol is wrong. Riley stood up. I understand being careful. I understand safety measures. But when people are dying and you have a solution, you use it. That's not recklessness. That's compassion. The council chamber fell silent. Meridax's crystals stopped shifting. You see, said the jellyfish being quietly. This is what makes them dangerous. They don't consider the risks. They just act. They act to save lives, Vosh countered. There's a difference between recklessness and bravery. Is there? The reptilian asked. From where I'm sitting, they look similar. Riley felt her frustration building. I'm sorry my biology is confusing. I'm sorry that humans evolved differently. But we can't change what we are. We can only choose what we do with it. And I choose to help people. If that makes me dangerous, then I guess I'm dangerous. You are dangerous, Meridax said, but perhaps not in the way we initially thought. The chair's crystals began to glow. The council has been debating this for the past week. Some members wanted to restrict human movement in galactic space. Others wanted to require special permits and monitoring. But after reviewing Dr. Vosh's full report and the testimonies from the donor crew, we've reached a different conclusion. Riley's heart hammered. What conclusion? That humans are dangerous the way a doctor with a scalpel is dangerous. The tool is sharp, but in the right hands, it saves lives. Meridax gestured to the other council members. We're establishing a new protocol. Human blood plasma will be collected, processed, and stored at major medical facilities across the galaxy. The enzymes in human plasma could save thousands of lives. You want to harvest human blood? Holt asked carefully. We want to request voluntary donations. Meridax corrected. Humans would be compensated fairly, and the plasma would be used only for medical emergencies. Dr. Vosh has demonstrated that human enzymes can neutralize organophosphates, certain alkaloids, and possibly dozens of other toxic compounds. This is a resource we cannot ignore. Riley sat back down. So we're not being restricted? No, you're being recruited. The jellyfish being expanded slightly. The Galactic Medical Corps wants to establish a human emergency response team. Humans would be trained in toxin identification and emergency medicine, then deployed to crisis situations where conventional treatments fail. You want to make humans into universal antidotes, Vosh said. We want to utilize a natural advantage, Meridax said. Humans evolved on a death world. They survived by adapting to extreme conditions. Now they can use that adaptation to help others survive. The chair focused on Riley. What do you think? Riley thought about the donor crew, about the 11 people who lived because she had the right enzymes at the right time, about all the other emergencies happening across the galaxy where someone might die from a toxin that a human could neutralize. I think humans would volunteer, she said. We're good at running toward danger instead of away from it. It's kind of our thing. Your thing nearly got you classified as a safety hazard, the reptilian council member said, but he sounded almost amused now. Yeah, but it also saved 11 lives. I'll take that trade. Meridax's crystals glowed brighter. Then we're agreed. Dr. Vosh, you'll head the research division. Commander Holt, you'll help coordinate with human governments and organizations. Riley Chun, you'll be the first member of the Human Emergency Response Team. Congratulations. You just became the galaxy's first professional death worlder. Riley blinked. I'm sorry, what? You heard correctly. Your new job title is Death Worlder, First Responder. Meridax's crystals chimed with what might have been laughter. Your species spent millions of years surviving the impossible. Now you get to share that survival with the rest of us. The holographic conference ended. Riley sat in the now quiet room with Vosh and Holt, trying to process what had just happened. Did I just get promoted by the Galactic Medical Council? Riley asked. You got recruited by them, Holt said. There's a difference. Is there really? Riley looked at Vosh. Am I crazy? Or did they just turn being human into a job description? They turned human biology into a medical asset, Vosh corrected. It's actually brilliant. Humans have natural advantages that other species lack. Why not use them? Because it feels weird to be valued for my liver enzymes. Be valued for your willingness to help, Vosh said gently. The enzymes are just the tool. Your choice to use them is what matters. Holt stood up, straightening his uniform. Well, we should celebrate. The council could have gone much worse. Instead of being restricted, humans are now officially recognized as vital medical personnel. Vital medical personnel with really aggressive digestive systems, Riley said. Those two. Holt smiled. Come on. I'll buy you dinner in the commissary. You can have whatever deadly food you want. Riley followed them out of the conference room. Through the windows, she could see the stars. Somewhere out there, people might be dying from toxins that her body could neutralize. Emergencies where her death worlder biology could make the difference between life and death. Hey, Doc, Riley said as they walked. How many humans are in galactic space right now? Approximately 15,000, Vosh said. Why? Because if the council wants to build a human emergency response team, they're going to need volunteers. And I know humans. When you tell them they can save lives by being exactly what they are, they'll line up around the station. You sound confident. I am. Humans are good at two things: surviving impossible situations and helping others do the same. Riley grinned. The council will just figure out how to combine both. 6 months after the council decision, Riley stood in front of 43 humans in the new training facility on Helios 7. The room had been modified to accommodate human needs, with higher oxygen levels and temperatures warm enough that other species would find uncomfortable. Behind her, a holographic display showed molecular structures of various toxins. Most of you know me from the Death Apple incident, Riley began. Some of you heard about the Dawn Runner rescue. But today isn't about me. It's about what we can do together. A hand went up in the back. A young man with scars on his arms. Is it true you ate Mortis fructus and survived? I did. It tasted like honey and cinnamon. Riley smiled at the nervous laughter. But that's not what makes us special. What makes us special is that we can help people survive things that would kill them. Our bodies are built to process toxins. Now we're learning to use that ability deliberately. Dr. Vosh entered from the side door, carrying a sealed container. Good morning, humans. Today we're going to discuss the practical applications of your biology. She set the container on the demonstration table. This contains samples of 12 different compounds, all classified as lethal toxins by galactic standards. Riley, would you like to tell them what we discovered? Riley pulled up the holographic display. We tested my blood plasma against all 12. My enzymes neutralized 9 of them completely. The other 3 required additional processing, but were still manageable. She looked at the group. We're not invincible, but we're close enough that it matters. What if we encounter a toxin we can't process? Asked a woman in the front row. Her name, tag, read Santos. Good question. That's why we're training. We need to recognize toxins quickly, assess our limitations, and know when to use conventional medicine instead of our biology. Riley changed the display to show a flowchart. The goal isn't to replace standard medical treatment. It's to provide an option when standard treatment fails. Vosh opened the sealed container. Inside were 12 vials, each containing a different colored liquid. These are synthetic versions of the toxins we tested, diluted to safe levels for demonstration purposes. Each of you will be exposed to trace amounts to verify your enzyme production. She paused. This is voluntary. If anyone is uncomfortable with this process, you can leave now with no judgment. Nobody moved. Excellent, Vosh said. Then let's begin with something simple. Capsaicin exposure. Riley watched as Vosh distributed small amounts of hot sauce to each trainee. Other species would have required full hazmat protocols for this. The humans just dabbed it on their tongues and evaluated the heat level. This is mild, Santos said, frowning. Do you have anything stronger? That would kill a centauri, Vosh said flatly. Yeah, but it's barely spicy for me. I grew up eating habaneros. Vosh made a note on her datapad. Individual tolerance varies. We'll need to map each person's specific enzyme profile. She moved to the next vial. Theobromine. This is chocolate concentrate. The humans consumed it without issue. Then coffee extract. Then a diluted alcohol sample. Each substance that would hospitalize or kill other species barely registered to the human metabolism. Now we get interesting, Vosh said, holding up a green vial. This is a synthetic organophosphate, similar to what poisoned the Dawnrunner crew. It's heavily diluted, but still dangerous. We'll start with a skin contact test. She dabbed a drop on Riley's arm. Riley felt a slight tingling, then nothing. Her skin showed no reaction. My body's already processing it through dermal absorption. Remarkable. Vosh tested each human in turn. All of them showed the same resilience. Your skin is more permeable than most species, but your enzymatic response compensates. You're essentially self-cleaning. A tall man named Foster raised his hand. What about cumulative exposure? If we're constantly processing toxins, does that wear down our systems? Excellent question, Riley said. Dr. Vosh and I have been monitoring my health since the Death Apple incident. My liver function is normal. My enzyme production hasn't decreased. Human bodies are designed for this. We evolved processing toxins constantly. It's our baseline, not an emergency measure. So we're built for this job, Santos said. Literally, yes. Riley pulled up another display, this one showing human evolutionary history. Our ancestors ate poison berries, toxic plants, dangerous fungi. The ones who survived passed on genes for better toxin processing. We're the result of millions of years of trial and error. Most of the errors died. Well, what's left? The room fell quiet. Vosh broke the silence. That's why the Galactic Medical Council wants human responders. You're not just resistant to toxins. You're the product of a planet that spent eons trying to poison you. And you won. So what's the plan? Foster asked. How do we actually help people? Riley changed the display to show response protocols. We're setting up rapid response teams. 3 humans per team, paired with conventional medical staff. When a toxin emergency occurs, we assess the situation. If we can help, we donate plasma on site. The medical staff processes it and administers it to victims. She paused. We're not trying to replace doctors. We're trying to be a tool they can use. What if our plasma doesn't work? Someone asked from the middle of the group. Then we fall back on conventional treatment. But we try our option first because it's fast and it works. Riley showed footage from the Dawn on a Rescue. These people lived because we tried something new. That's what this team is about. Trying new things when the old ways fail. Vosh stepped forward. I want to be clear about something. This program is experimental. You'll be putting yourselves at risk. Not from the toxins, your bodies can handle those, but from the situations you'll be entering. Toxin disasters are chaotic. You might face structural damage, hostile environments, or simply arrive too late to help. She looked at each face. This job will hurt. Not physically, but emotionally. You'll save some people. You won't save others. Can you handle that? The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Then Santos spoke. We're human. We handle it by helping anyway. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. Riley felt something tight in her chest loosen. These weren't just volunteers. These were people who understood what it meant to be built for survival and choosing to share that gift. All right then, Vosh said, let's continue training. We have 5 months before the first teams deploy. That means 5 months of toxin identification, emergency medicine, and scenario practice. She smiled, which was rare for her. Welcome to the Human Emergency Response Initiative. You're officially the galaxy's most useful Death Worlders. Training lasted until evening. By the time Riley dismissed the group, she was exhausted but satisfied. She stayed behind to help Vosh clean up the equipment. They're good, Vosh said, sealing the toxin samples. Better than I expected. They're human, Riley said. We're good at adapting. You're good at more than that. Vosh paused. I've been studying Earth history. Do you know what I found most interesting? What? Humans don't just survive. You help others survive too. You rescue people from floods, fires, disasters. You donate blood. You volunteer. You run into danger to help strangers. Vosh looked at Riley. That's not biology. That's choice. And that's what makes this program work. You're not just biologically resilient. You're compassionately resilient. Riley felt her face warm. Thanks, document. Don't thank me. Just keep training these humans to be the heroes they already are. Vosh picked up her equipment case. Now go rest. Tomorrow we're testing alkaloid resistance, and I need you at full strength. Riley left the training facility and walked through the station corridors. Other species moved past her, going about their business. None of them knew that the human walking by could process toxins that would kill them. None of them realized that 43 more humans were training right now to save lives using nothing but their Death Worlder biology, but they would learn. When the first emergency call came in and humans responded, the galaxy would learn what Death Worlders were really good at, not just surviving. Helping others survive too. 1 year after eating the death apple, Riley returned to the Xenobotany lab where it all started. The containment units hummed with familiar efficiency. The purple moss from Sector 9 still pulsed with light. Everything looked the same, but everything had changed. Pip found her standing in front of the death apple tree. It had grown well in the past year, now tall enough that its branches pressed against the protective glass of its enclosure. Golden red fruit hung from the branches, beautiful and deadly. Still can't believe you ate one of those, Pip said. His blue skin had returned to its normal shade, no longer pale with fear when he looked at Riley. Best mistake I ever made, Riley said. Changed everything. Changed everything for you. Pip corrected. For the rest of us, it was terrifying. He moved closer to the glass, studying the fruit. Though I suppose it worked out. The Human Emergency Response Initiative has saved 417 lives in the past 6 months. 418, Riley corrected. Got the update this morning. Team 7 responded to a mining accident on the Outer Rim. Alkaloid poisoning. 3 miners saved. 418 lives because you ate poison. Pip's antennae twitched with amusement. Humans are very strange. We prefer to think of ourselves as resilient. Same thing. Pip pulled up a datapad. Speaking of resilient, you have a visitor. She's waiting in the observation lounge. Riley left the lab and found Santos sitting by the window, watching ships dock at the station. The woman had changed in the past year. More confident, more experienced. She wore the dark blue uniform of a certified emergency responder. Riley, Santos said, standing up. Thanks for meeting me. Of course. How was the deployment? Successful. We saved 12 people on a colony world. Agricultural accident. They sprayed the wrong pesticide near a residential area. Santos sat back down, and Riley joined her. But that's not why I'm here. I need to talk to you about something. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. That's the problem. Santos stared out at the stars. We're too good at this, Riley. Humans are saving lives all over the galaxy. The success rate is incredible. And now other species are starting to ask questions. What kind of questions? The kind that make me uncomfortable. Like whether humans are actually superior to other species. Whether we should be in leadership positions because of our biological advantages. Whether Death World origin makes us better suited for dangerous work. Santos looked at Riley. People are turning us into heroes. But heroes can become symbols. And symbols can become problems. Riley felt a cold weight settle in her stomach. You think we're creating a hierarchy. I think we're risking one. Not intentionally. But when humans can do things other species can't. When we're called in for emergencies that would kill anyone else. When we're praised for abilities that are just biology. Santos shook her head. It's not equality. It's exceptionalism. And exceptionalism leads to division. So what do? Stop helping people? No, we keep helping. But we need to be careful about how we frame it. Santos pulled up a report on her datapad. I've been talking to other responders. We want to emphasize cooperation, not superiority. Yes, humans can process toxins better than most species. But Antarians have superior pattern recognition. Centauri have incredible dexterity. Every species has advantages. You want to integrate the teams more, Riley said. I want to make sure we don't accidentally create a galaxy where humans are seen as the solution to everything. Because that's not sustainable. That's not healthy. And that's not who we want to be. Santos met Riley's eyes. You started this by helping people. Let's make sure we finish it the same way. Riley thought about the Dawnrunner crew, about the training facility full of humans learning to turn their biology into medicine. About 418 lives saved because someone recognized that being different could be useful. You're right, Riley said. We need to adjust the messaging. Emphasize partnership over heroism. Make sure we're tools in a larger medical system, not replacements for it. Exactly. Santos stood up. I'm presenting a proposal to Commander Holt tomorrow. New protocols for the response initiative. More mixed species teams. More emphasis on conventional medicine working alongside human biology. I wanted your support. You have it. Riley stood as well. This was never about making humans special. It was about making sure everyone survives. Santos left, and Riley returned to the Xenobotany lab. The death apple tree seemed to glow in its containment unit, beautiful and dangerous, and somehow symbolic of everything that had happened. Pip, Riley said, do you think we made a mistake? Turning human biology into a medical program? No, Pip said immediately. You save lives. That's never a mistake. But Santos is right. We're creating division without meaning to. Then fix it. Pip gestured to the death apple tree. You ate poison and survived. You donated blood and saved people. You trained others to do the same. That's the pattern. See a problem, fix it. That's very human. Riley smiled. You make it sound simple. It is simple. Execution is hard. But the concept. Pip's antennae waved expressively. Humans are good at this. You survive things that shouldn't be survivable. Then you help others do the same. Just make sure you include others in the helping part. Integration instead of exceptionalism. Exactly. Though I'm still not eating a death apple. Nobody's asking you to. Riley looked at the tree. You know what? I think we should expand the botanical collection. Get samples from other species' homeworlds. Learn about their poisonous plants, their dangerous flora. Show that every world has challenges, not just Earth. That's good, Pip said. Show that death worlds aren't unique. They're just different. Over the next month, Riley and Santos implemented changes to the response initiative. Mixed species teams became standard. Training programs included modules on every species' biological advantages. Human responders were taught to work alongside Antarian analysts and Centauri medics, each contributing their strengths to a unified whole. The results were immediate. Response times improved. Survival rates increased. And most importantly, the galaxy stopped seeing humans as exceptional and started seeing them as cooperative. Riley found herself back in front of the Galactic Medical Council 1 year after her first appearance. This time, Santos stood beside her, along with Vosh and representatives from a dozen other species. The Human Emergency Response Initiative has been a success, Chair Meridax announced. But we're changing the name. From now on, it will be called the Multi-Species Emergency Response Initiative. Humans will continue to serve, but they'll be part of a larger framework that utilizes every species' natural advantages. Riley felt relief wash over her. This was right. This was what they should have done from the beginning. Riley Chun, Meridax continued. You started this program by eating a death apple and refusing to die. You continued it by donating blood to save strangers. You've helped train hundreds of responders and save countless lives. The Council wants to recognize your contribution. I just help people, Riley said. You did more than that. You showed us that differences can be strengths when used for cooperation rather than competition. Meridax's crystals glowed warmly. The galaxy is better because you didn't die when you should have. Thank you for sharing your survival with all of us. The council session ended. Riley and Santos walked through the station together, heading back to the training facility where the next group of responders was waiting. Not just humans now, but Centauri, Balians, Antarians, every species contributing what they could. Think it'll work? Santos asked. This new integrated approach. It has to, Riley said, because the alternative is division, and we've seen where that leads. They passed a commissary where crew members from a dozen species ate together. Someone was drinking coffee, someone else eating something that looked like rocks. Everyone consuming what their biology allowed, what their evolution prepared them for, without judgment or hierarchy. You know what's funny? Riley said, I spent my whole life thinking humans were normal. Just another species in a big galaxy. Turns out we're weird. Really weird. But so is everyone else. That's the secret, isn't it? Santos said, everyone's a death worlder on their own terms. Everyone survived something impossible. We just need to remember that. They reached the training facility. Through the windows, Riley could see humans working alongside other species, learning from each other, preparing to save lives together. In the Xenobotany lab, the death apple tree continued to grow, its fruit hanging heavy and beautiful behind protective glass. A new plaque had been added beside IT read, Mortis fructus, lethal to most species, slightly tart to humans. A reminder that survival takes many forms, and help comes from unexpected places. May we always share our strengths with those who need them. Riley smiled. 1 year ago, she had eaten poison and lived. Today, 418 people were alive because of what that moment taught the galaxy. Not that humans were better. That everyone had value. That differences were tools, not weapons. That survival was something worth sharing. She headed into the training